Hello again, Sandwich. I'm Greg Anderson. Welcome back into a great discussion. It hasn't even happened yet, and I know it's going to be great. A conversation about somebody that you have the opportunity to vote for on May 5th as we come up to our town election day. My guest is Bob Thomson, and he is running a three-way race, and there are three candidates. So I think, Bob, this is kind of a shoo-in.
It's looking good, Greg.
It's looking good. You've got the things going in your way. This is for trustees for the Sandwich Public Library, a very important role. And frankly, I think, Bob, and tell me, a role that most people don't really understand. What is a trustee of the Sandwich Public Library doing? What does he do?
Greg, first of all, I think you're absolutely right. It is kind of tough to get a grip on this. We're the largest publicly elected body in the town of Sandwich. There's 9 of us. And it's hard to compare the trustees to any other elected body. I think when I try to explain this to people, I usually compare it a little bit to the school committee. In other words, that the school committee makes policy for the school system, but the superintendent actually runs the school system. We're comparable in the sense that the trustees make policy for the library, but it's the library director who manages the library on a day-to-day basis. We're basically there to advocate the good stuff and oppose the bad stuff. We're 9 people with a variety of skills. That's a nice thing about having 9 people on the board. Ideally, each of us brings a certain set of skills to the table that are going to be helpful to the library.
And you are currently on the Board of Trustees.
I am.
And 2 years.
Yes,
I understand.
I'm filling out a 2-year term.
Yeah. Your background is journalism. So you've always been around words, and you've always been around sentences and all of that. But what is it that you bring to the Board of Trustees that's unique?
I don't believe I bring anything that's unique. I hope that what I bring are my communications skills from my 44 years of working in American newsrooms. I like to think that I can help with outreach and bringing the library community together so everybody knows what everybody else is doing and we can all understand that we're moving in the same direction. So I'm a liaison to the Friends of the Library, our major fundraising arm. I'm liaison to the Friends of the Sandwich Town Archives, our important historical group, and the archives are housed within the library. I work in the library bookstore, so I get a chance to talk to my fellow volunteers down there, plus the patrons who come in, and we exchange views on the library renovation.
Yeah. So tell me about that renovation project. Give it a grade. How'd it go?
Oh, to me, Greg, it's an A+, and I say that to you with all confidence because I had nothing to do with it. My sole role in the library renovation was as a voter at special town meeting in fall 2019.
Yeah.
It was all planned out before I joined the board in the winter of the next year, 2020. And the thing that is a marvel to me, and something that Sandwich at all levels should be very proud of, is that it came out just the way I thought it was as someone sitting there in town meeting in 2019.
Yeah.
In other words, the artist renderings that we were shown, the descriptions that the library director, Joanne Lamoth, and the library chair, Mark Wicklund, gave to us, the things that got said to you, Greg, on the lawn of the Sandwich Library by Joanne just before town meeting, that's what came to be true. And as I say, it's a marvel. It's something that all of Sandwich should be very proud of.
Does Sandwich know enough about it?
I don't believe so. Example, when I'm downstairs working my shifts in the Friends bookstore, people still come in and say, your renovation looks great. This is the first time I've been here since then. Okay, it's been 6 months now.
Yeah.
But this is the first time they're visiting. I think people still are in that kind of Omicron sluggishness of getting out and about.
So let me ask you that, because that is one of the questions I had for you, which is, we live in a Google world. I can pick up my phone and I can find out, whether I need to change my oil or I have the flu. I can read about historical information. It's the internet. Is that still, and maybe it never has, but I truly think it has impacted people's interest in walking in and standing in a library and taking on what it has to offer. Has that been a problem in your mind here in Sandwich?
Well, I think libraries around the world are struggling to find what their role is going to be in the 21st century. A library can't survive as a warehouse for books. That's so 20th century.
Yeah.
We need to be a gathering point. We need to be what librarians would call the third place. There's your home, there's work or school, and then there should be your library, your local library, as a place where you can come and find out information, hear speakers, talk to your fellow town residents, communicate.
Yeah.
That's what a modern library is going to be.
Yeah.
And librarians, certainly across the United States, are working to be exactly that for the 21st century.
So what is your traffic looking like in the Sandwich Public Library?
The traffic is definitely off from the pre-pandemic era. In the pre-pandemic era, a good day for us was getting about 200 patrons in a day. I'm not sure what the numbers are now. I visit the library very frequently, of course,
sure.
And it ebbs and flows. For example, after school lets out during the week, we get a pretty good crowd of kids and parents coming in. There's always some folks there working. We have this new tech bar, you may recall, that has worked out real well. First of all, the tech bar looks great, but also I see people setting up there. They got a coffee, they got their laptop open. They're basically there to work for at least a few hours a day.
Yeah.
And I love seeing that. I love seeing people settling into their favorite chairs now with the new library. So it's coming back. A big thing, Greg, is that we're really just starting to get our refurbished meeting rooms used. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. The events calendar, which you can see on the Sandwich Public Library website, is really starting to fill up. We've got all kinds of events coming up. There's a lot of book talks getting organized now. Last week, I went to a session sponsored by group of folks who call themselves the Sandwich Moms. They are doing informational sessions about the school capital plan that'll be on town meeting and the town ballot in May. And so that was great to see, by the way. All three of the school committee candidates were there. Dave Sampson from the select board stopped by. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is goal number one on the library's strategic plan.
Do this more often.
Do this more often.
How many conference rooms do you have, or public rooms?
Oh, we had to revise our meeting policy because we now have more places for people to meet. The room that used to be the archives room, the McKnight room, where that fireplace is, well, that's all cleared out now. And there's a big table there, plus lots of bookshelves. And it's going to be a great place for small groups to meet.
Nice.
Plus, we also have this refurbished patio area with tables and chairs donated by the Friends of the Library. And we're really looking forward to small groups meeting there.
So it's really, if you have a level of interest in being involved in the community and attending things, you're likely to be, and hopefully likely to be, sitting in the library in a meeting, participating there. Because I remember two rooms downstairs and the McKnight room.
Yes.
And I also remember, could you bring a coffee in before?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I guess
still
I was.
can.
Okay, you still can, which is good. So tell me about the archives. I was on the Historical Commission, and we used to meet in the McKnight Room, and that whole digitalization of the archives was such an issue. Can you bring us up to date on where the archives are as it relates to that? Is it an initiative? Is it underway? Where are we with that? Do you know?
Oh, yes. The Friends of the Archives very much have that as a priority, maybe their top priority. They have still some grant money to continue the digitization of historic newspapers on Cape Cod. And Deb Rich, the archivist, has a priority list of how to do that, and they're going to be spending their funds on continuing the digitization. The hope is, of course, to get all that available online for folks so they don't have to come into the archives. Of course, the archives looks really nice now.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful space in itself, and we would certainly welcome people to come in there, but ideally you'll be able to do a lot online.
So tell me what the function is and how does it interact with, and you're the liaison, but break the two apart. Friends of the Library, what is that group and how do you as trustees work with that group?
Well, I love to go to the Friends meetings. They're a bunch of really energizing people who are dedicated to the library and the community. And so they are our major fundraising group, but they're also involved in a lot of the programming. They're very creative. They come up with lots of ideas for how the money they raise can be spent.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just get a charge out of being with them. And of course I report back to the trustees on what they're up to, and I report to them on what the trustees are up to, so everybody knows what everybody else is doing.
And then FOSTA, which is Friends of the Sandwich Town Archives. What's their function? Similar?
Their function is similar, but specifically for the archives. And as we've been talking about, they're into the digitization of material. They have some good ideas about how to raise funds to support the work of the archives. We'd all like to see more archival material displayed around the library. One of the post-modernization things that we're working on is what to put on the walls and what to put on the display spaces around the library.
Yeah. You're looking at coming back in, it's a 3 year?
3 years.
3 years. Let's flash forward another 3 years. You're back in, you're on the board. What do you hope to accomplish, or at least see the trustees accomplish in the next 3 years?
To maximize the modernization.
Okay.
The town spent a lot of money on this modernization.
Give me an example of what you mean by to maximize.
To make sure that we really are the premier gathering space for the town. To make sure that that tech bar, that everybody knows about the tech bar, knows they can come in there, how we can be useful to the business community, for example. The children's room is a huge hit. The remodeled children's room, it went from being in the front of the library to being in the middle of the library, and it also looks great. And that's really heavily used. I'd love to see us continue to develop attractions for teens, young adults, middle-aged folks, everybody in the rest of the library space.
And you're a messaging guy. 30 years at the Washington Post.
44.
44 years.
No, excuse me, Greg. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I was 44 years at newspapers and about 3 decades at the Post. You got it.
Where did you work before the Post?
At Newsday, the Long Island newspaper.
Okay. All right. So this messaging thing it's like Candy, your wife. I mean, it's like this is what you guys can do. And I asked her this question as it relates to her race for constable, which is interesting, by the way. Husband and wife are both, up for election.
Only couple on the ballot.
Yes, the only couple on the ballot. I love that. But how would your writing, your love of words, your messaging abilities and capabilities, how are you going to use that or continue to use that as a trustee, specifically?
Well, one way to do it is by talking to people, both internally, among the library itself, I have learned, is a very complicated place. There are a bunch of different groups that I've been describing and we've been discussing that make up the library family. Every part of it needs to know what the other parts are doing. So just listening and talking is, I hope, a very big help to the library community. But also, I get many chances to spread the word around town about what the library has to offer. I can meet somebody in the supermarket and wind up talking about the library. Social media, another outlet. That's where I can write. I can write letters to the enterprise. It seems like there are lots and lots of opportunities to spread the word specifically about the library.
Yeah, excellent. So there are 3 of you running. Mm-hmm. There are 3 seats. How confident are you feeling that you're going to be reelected?
It's looking pretty good. Craig, as you know, it was on track to be a competitive election.
Yeah, there was a 4th.
There was a 4th candidate. When it was competitive, the first thing I did was go to the library website and go to the catalog search box, type in "how to win an election," and up pops this 2,000-year-old book by Quintus Tullius Cicero, who was advising his brother Marcus on how to win the consulship in Rome in 64 BC.
No kidding.
Oh, it's like it was written yesterday, Greg.
Really?
Oh, yes. It's filled with good advice for any candidate. And here, so instead of taking this 2,000-year-old document and having to unscroll it, in about 60 seconds, I've got it downloaded and I'm reading it. How good is that?
Gosh. So does that mean you're going to be standing in town throwing rocks at people to get their attention and to get them to vote for you?
Well, I'll do just about anything to get attention for the library, but it might stop short of the rock thing.
Oh my gosh. Hey, I wish you the best of luck. Bob, it has been a pleasure.
Pleasure, Ray.
Thank you so much, and good luck to you. As we talk about all of these opinions and perspectives that people are coming to the table with as candidates, it's really important to look at people as real people. They're our neighbors. They are interested in serving. For whatever reason, they're interested in serving. So I hope this has been a nice opportunity for at least one peek inside a candidate. And I hope you do show up at the polls Thursday, May 5th. I'm Greg Anderson. I'll see you soon.
The views expressed in this program are the views of the host and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the SCTV staff or board of directors.